notice also this color-coded bins. So in this country we have to recycle a lot. So there's one for glass, paper, another one for garden waste. You know, in Sweden, I believe they have 7 colors of different types of recycling nowadays. Also, somebody asked me about this red telephone booth, you know, taking pictures. If you can use the phone inside. Actually, yeah, some of them probably the phones must be working, but nobody uses them. Everybody's got a mobile phone. But there was a very entrepreneurial company which removed many of these telephone booths, refurbished them, you know, gave them a lick of paint, and they can fit a bookcase inside for you. They can put a shower head. You can buy one as a souvenir from London. Isn't that a lovely thing? Take a look on your left-hand side, and this lovely building with flowers. That's a pub. Pub stands for public house. And that's truly the national institution. That's where the British go to socialize. A public house. For the public to socialize. There's no culture of inviting people home unless they're very close friends or family, certainly not colleagues. After work, every self-respecting English gentleman would be down in a pub with his colleagues. But you know, Friday night, I mean, Thursday is also a little Friday, and Wednesday is a little Friday. Basically, you can start drinking from Tuesday. And in a pub, you will try traditional British food like fish and chips. However, if you ask me what is the most popular dish in this country, you'll be surprised. Any ideas? What could be the most popular dish in this country? Oh yes, Indian curry, chicken tikka masala. Indian curry. It's the same meat which the British like, but it's in a spicy Indian sauce. They have it with naan, and they wash down the spice with beer. Yeah, that's how they have it, Indian curry. And there are more curry houses in this country than pubs. So what does it tell you? Indian curry. The British give you cricket, you give them Indian curry, which is most important. Most important to notice. You can always recognize the pub. Black facade, golden letters, lots of flower baskets. To your right-hand side is some of the colleges of London University. This is the South Bank. Now, London University is, of course, the biggest in this country, not the oldest. Oxford and Cambridge, perhaps you might have heard of. They are the oldest. They are more than 800 years old. But London University is the biggest in terms of student numbers. So they have many, many colleges and 200,000 students. And of course it has attracted young people from all over the world to come and study, young talents. And as you know, Mahatma Gandhi also came to London to study law. He became a barrister. Luckily for you, he didn't stay here. But everybody used to love to sit next to Gandhiji during lunch. You know why? Because he was a vegetarian. So he would give away his portion of meat to whoever was sitting next to him. A very popular companion during lunch. So Londoners like to give nicknames to everything. The skyscrapers in particular. And if you look to your left, you'll see there's a very tall glass building which looks a bit unfinished, like a bottle has a broken neck. It is finished, that's just the design, and it's called the Sharp Red Line. Means you can't even stop for get parking. So there are some paid car parks, but it will cost you a fortune, £1 for 15 minutes, you know. So expensive and inconvenient. And if you still want to, of course you can. You just have to remember to pay, because if you forget, they'll take a picture of you on the camera, look around you guys and smile, yeah, on camera. The big brother is watching. And they'll send you a fine, £150. pounds. If you pay within a week, I believe it's 70 pounds. Still happened, not to me, a couple of times. So yeah. So take a look on your right hand side. This is Marble Arch, and this was once upon a time a place of executions. And on the corner of the park where the red bus is Speaker's Corner. And keep your eyes peeled. Perhaps somebody is exercising their right of free speech. You can say anything you want. You can't say only three things. You cannot beg for money. You cannot incite a riot. And you cannot rubbish the Queen. The Prime Minister, rubbish as much as you want, but not the Queen. She is above. And that's Hyde Park, by the way, on your left-hand side, the lungs of London. Hyde Park. You can fit a country like Monaco into that green space, just to give you an idea of its size. London is quite lucky in terms of more than 20% of space is green. It's known as urban forest sometimes. And to your left, you can see this car showrooms, Aston Martin, BMW, 5-star hotels. This whole area to the left is one of the most expensive, luxurious areas to live. It's called Mayfair. Perhaps not just in London, but in the world. Just to give you an idea, property prices in Mayfair start from an eye-watering £2,000 per square foot. Now I'll translate it in rupees. It's 2 lakhs rupees per square foot. Yeah, 20 lakhs per square meter. So to your left, the red brick building with the flags, the Grosvenor House Hotel, 5-star. There used to be the Indian flag here last year. It used to belong to the Sahara Group. Subrat Roy used to own it. I believe he got into a bit of trouble and had to sell his assets. So very expensive area. Naturally, amongst the people who can afford to live here would be some oil-rich Arabs, some Russian billionaires, a few Indian billionaires as well. Just on the other side of Hyde Park is the residence of Lakshmi Mittal. He is one of the richest people in this country. Not number one though. Take a look on your left. Look at these Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Bugattis. Another 5-star hotel called the Dorchester. The Dorchester, owned by the Kuwait, I believe. Kuwaitis, yes. A favorite place with celebrities. Hollywood stars. Sharon Stone, Sylvester Stallone. Nelson Mandela celebrated his 90th birthday in this hotel. So very, very expensive. Just gives you a flavor about this area. Oozes money. So do you know who is the richest people in this country, by the way? I'll give you a hint. It's another Indian name. It's a couple. Can you guess it? You don't know? Yeah. Do you guys know any rich Indian couple? No. Bianca Chopra, I wish. Hinduja brothers. They're number one richest people in this country. Hinduja brothers. Their wealth is estimated to be 22 billion pounds. It's very good. Take a look. Yeah, 22 billion. There's a lot of money, you know. A million perhaps is very easy to imagine. A million is 6 zeros. You start counting to a million now, will take you 1 month. A billion is 9 zeros. Start counting now will take you 32 years. 22 billion is their wealth. You do the maths, how many lifetimes. Yeah. So take a look on your right hand side. This is Wellington Arch, and right at the top there's peace restraining the horses of war. We are talking about 20 years of Napoleonic wars. Next. So 20 years of Napoleonic wars. 200 years ago, Napoleon Bonaparte was the Emperor of France, but he wanted to become the Emperor of the whole of Europe. And it took 20 years to stop him. And this is the Victory Arch. Victory in the Battle of Waterloo. And the man who defeated Napoleon is sitting on your right hand side at 3 o'clock on his horse. His name is the Duke of Wellington. Yes, so he's his Wellington Arch. His horse as well is quite famous, Copenhagen. Carried the Duke for 17 hours during the Battle of Waterloo. As far as I know, it's the only horse in British military history to be buried with full honors as if he was a general himself. And inside this arch is a little museum, but right from the top you can take a little peek behind this brick wall to your left, covered with lots of wires and CCTV cameras. Looks a bit like a prison wall, doesn't it? It's not a prison. No. Behind this wall are the gardens of Buckingham Palace, the official London residence of the Queen. So you can see how well protected the Queen is today with all those wires and cameras. But she wasn't so well protected in the 1980s, when a gentleman walked into her bedroom at 5 o'clock in the morning and asked her for a cigarette. Can you imagine? Yeah, the Queen woke up, she said, I don't smoke, but wait, let me call someone. She started pressing all security buttons, nobody came. She then telephoned, it took 20 minutes for the police to show up. So this guy said, I came here to show you how poorly the security is at the palace. He was of course arrested, but later they let him go. They realized he was a bit cuckoo. He's now writing books, My 20 Minutes with the Queen. So since that time, they have upgraded all the security, and you can see nobody visited the Queen uninvited. But you can be invited into Buckingham Palace. Few times a year, the Queen hosts fabulous garden parties. She invites 40,000 people in a year, and she presents them with different honors left. There are many systems of honor in this country. You could be knighted, you could be called a sir, just like in India, for example, you could Bharat Ratna, the highest civil award. In this country, the most popular one is known as the Order of the British Empire, or OBE, and it is given for different contributions to society. So people like Ratan Tata got it, and we just passed Tata offices. People like David Beckham, the famous football player, has got it for his contribution to sports. But most importantly, ordinary people like you and I can also get it. If you do some good service in some way, in some walk of life, in some community, you help out somewhere, you might be nominated, invited. The Queen will give you a medal, a cup of tea, a sandwich, everything will be very, very nice. So everything along your left-hand side is part of the palace. It's pretty huge, has 795 rooms. Guess how many bathrooms on top of that? Look left, the lion and the unicorn guarding the entrance to the royal mews. That's where the Queen keeps her horses, cars and carriages. She still rides a horse, imagine, despite being 93 years old. She rides a little pony called Elma in Windsor Castle. She's also the only driver in this country who doesn't have a driving license. And surprisingly, she doesn't even have a passport. All other members of the royal family have driving licenses and passports, but not the Queen. Everybody in the kingdom, apparently, from the warships, First World War warships, are left. So the Imperial War Museum is to your right-hand side. Notice also those lovely trees. You'll see them all over London to your left-hand side in particular. These big ones, at least 200 years old. It's called London Plane. It's the most common tree in London. You'll see them everywhere.